When travelers start using AI to inspire their travels or to book their accommodation, what happens to short-term rentals? Hi, I'm Yuvika Wahi from RC by PriceLabs, your go-to source for short-term rental news and insights. Every week, we serve up fresh news, but we don't just cover the news. We cover what the news means for you, the professional short-term rental manager. Today, I'm really excited to kick off a new series of videos that we're going to cover in October, focusing on the use of AI, especially by travelers in planning their travel, but also booking components of their travel. There's a lot of new tools out there, and a lot of new features that specifically are trying to change the shape how people book travel. So every week we'll look at a different tool, different feature, different service, and try to figure out how does it all work in the context of short-term rentals. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is the first in the series of this video. If you're watching on YouTube, to keep tabs, do make sure you hit that subscribe button. Booking.com recently released the AI sentiment report. And in this report, we found out that 1 in 6 travelers have used AI to plan or book a trip. Maybe you've used ChatGPT to inspire you where to go next. Sometimes maybe you have done it without even knowing that you are doing it. Because, for example, a lot of big booking platforms now use AI-powered natural language search, basically allowing travelers to visit their website and search for what they want in natural language, in simple language. It's an easy way to get started on your travel planning without having to sift through many filters. Just makes the experience more intuitive. Today, however, I'm focusing on the Perplexity Travel Hub or Perplexity Travel Inspiration Hub. For those of you who may not know, Perplexity is an AI answer engine. Basically, you can ask it any questions in natural language and it'll show you the results for that answer, but in this case with sources, and you can easily navigate and explore those sources to validate the answer that you just received. Now, Perplexity just added a travel hub to its suite of features. And the objective of this travel hub is to give travelers a place to start and end their travel planning and booking journey. So for example, instead of going to a different platform, a different channel to inspire you where to go, and yet another one to book your accommodation, another one to plan your itinerary. Hypothetically, you should be able to use Perplexity Travel to do all of that in one place. So it is supposed to be sort of like an aggregator. So it can act as an aggregator and curator. Based on where you want to travel or what you want to do while you travel, it can give you curated responses. So what we were obviously curious about was how Perplexity relates to short-term rentals and how short-term rentals might show up on the Perplexity Travel platform. Let me go ahead and show you what Perplexity Travel looks like. Let's find out together how the experience is for your average user, visitor. What do they see? How do they see it? And how they might behave next. All right, so here we are, Perplexity Travel. Now, to visit Perplexity Travel is super easy. You go to perplexity.ai/travel, or when you log into Perplexity, the home page, you can hover on top of home and click on the travel tab, which will bring you where I am exactly right now. For starters, you see what you would normally expect, an answer box to ask a question in natural language. When I click here, I can see already a few prompts. These are not informed by my search history, by the way. These are just default prompts you will see when you click in the answer box. Let's take a look at what these prompts are, right? First is Hudson Valley fall foliage tips. Now, this is more seasonal because we are entering fall, so it makes sense that it might give fall-related suggestions. Then there is Ponta Delgado Wellness Resort. So here it's obviously taking my location into account, I assume, because I live in Portugal and the Azores are a common travel destination for people living in Portugal. Then you also see New England Budget Travel October. This is interesting because New England is obviously a really popular fall destinations, but it's interesting to see budget travel because it gives you a sense of what travelers are looking for already, right? We'll get into this a little bit more in detail later. You'll see. If you scroll down, there are two main sections you're going to see. Trending destinations. These are I think, a list of 6 destinations that are trending globally. This is not curated to me. This is the static page that you see no matter who's logging in. You see Barcelona, Edinburgh, Gold Coast, and 3 other destinations. Then you can see the inspiration cards, and this is so-called the heart of the inspiration hub. Right? I don't think these are customized to me yet, at least. Best hiking trails in Slovenia, best hotels in the Catskills, 2-night luxury stay in Japan, things to do in the Dolomites, and so on. Immediately, one thing is apparent, right? You see the word hotels already 3 times, but you don't see any other type of accommodation in the inspiration section so far, at least. Now, what does this tell us? It tells us that obviously short-term rentals cannot be seen at the front door. This is a very hotel-forward homepage. Um, but that makes sense. So when Perplexity Travel launched, they also announced 2 partnerships, one with TripAdvisor and another with Selfbook. And the Selfbook partnership is meant to allow people to book hotels from within Perplexity Travel Hub. And TripAdvisor is also allowed to do that along with review ratings, which we'll see in a moment. But it makes sense that hotels are front and center because that is at least partly informed by Perplexity's partnerships. What happens when I take a look? What happens when I click on one of the cards? Let's look at best hotels in the Catskills. Anytime you click on a card on Perplexity or you look up a destination, you kind of see this curated magazine style page. Obviously, the content of that page will be custom based on that market. For example, here we see family-friendly lodging options, seasonal booking considerations, because that's what is pertinent to the Catskills market. So aside from telling you a little bit about the market, you can see information about Catskill luxury resorts. You can see boutique mountain accommodation as well as family-friendly lodging options. The source for this information in this case are high-ranking, high-authority sources, CN Traveler, Michelin Guide, and so far we are not seeing much about anything except hotels, any other type of accommodation. But we did look at a hotel cards in all fairness, right? What's interesting also are the follow-up prompts that Perplexity gives to you. Best times of year to book a boutique hotel in the Catskills. Are there any seasonal discounts available? What are the hotels that offer seasonal activities or events? How do seasonal bookings affect the availability of luxury rooms in the Catskills? It's suggesting a journey for you to take, but that is informed by what people are already looking for in that market, right? How that market operates. So what happens when we click on which Catskills hotels offer special seasonal activities or events? First, you can see some information about what these special seasonal activities or events might be. Great. But what I want you to take a look at is this tab right here, Places. If you click on Places, what you will see is basically a map of all the hotels that, according to Perplexity, offer special seasonal activities or events. So you can see the list on the left, the Catskill, Postcard Cabins, Eastern Catskills, Winter Clothing, and on the right, you can actually see the map alongside the rating of each of the accommodations that has popped up. In this case, hotels, right? The rating is coming directly from TripAdvisor, which is the role TripAdvisor is playing in this sort of experience. So let's click on more info on the Catskill. And what it will do is take me to the Catskill website. Theoretically, I'm supposed to be able to book the actual hotel within the Perplexity interface. But so far, and I've tried it a few times, it has not worked for me. It could be a location limitation because I have seen others successfully book hotels from within. But for me, as you can see, I don't even see the option here. It could be picking up on your location. There could be other limitations. I don't know at the moment, but so far, I don't see the option to book any of these hotels. Now, what happens? Let's go back to the assistant tab because what I want to find out is what happens when we ask Perplexity Travel about vacation rentals in Catskills. One thing worth noticing is that there is no Places tab because that is a Selfbook and TripAdvisor integration result, which in this case is not working for any other type of accommodation. Interestingly, the first result we get is not a big name, big booking platform, but it's Catskills Cabin Rentals. This is the first mention of Airbnb However, it's also supported by other sources such as Business Insider and CN Traveler. Next is vacation rental sites. Here we see mention of Airbnb again, but we also see Vrbo in the mix, Booking.com and Home to Go, and specialty sites, including postcard cabins, a tiny house resorts. It doesn't seem too volume focused, at least not in the sense of how many listings a platform has, because we can assume safely that Airbnb might have more listings or Booking.com might have more listings. However, you do see regional or property management company websites listed, which is interesting to see because that serves up the opportunity for players outside of the big three to show up where they're relevant. Another interesting thing here are again the follow-up prompts. So here the follow-up prompts are compare pet-friendly vacation rentals in Catskills with outdoor amenities, Catskills vacation rentals with private lakes or waterfront access, options for luxury cabin rentals with fireplaces or hot tubs, family-sized vacation homes and multiple bedrooms in Catskills, rustic log cabin rental near hiking trails. Now, what can we learn from these follow-up prompts? This is telling us something about the market. It's telling us what people are already looking for in that market, what kind of stays are popular in that market, what kind of amenities do people prefer, what kind of travelers even, family-sized vacation homes. So from a research point of view, if you're a short-term rental manager, this can also be useful for your market to understand what do travelers look for when they come visit your market. Let's take a look at what happens when you click on family-sized vacation homes with multiple bedrooms in Catskills and see the options, see the results that we get. Interestingly, Catskills cabin rental still remains the #1 result, but right after that, we see Vrbo and Home to Go, which is interesting because we know Vrbo's positioning. It's large groups, families traveling together, entire houses, even though Airbnb has these types of listings as well and quite a lot. But it's about how the brand positions itself, which will obviously change the content that brand pushes out, how the listings are optimized, what kind of listings show up on that brand as well on their platform. And you also see Home to Go. Then you see Wynwood Inn and condos. The fourth result is Airbnb and luxury options. Let's try to use the original answer box and get some inspiration, right? So what I want to look for is family-friendly fall destinations, since we are heading into fall in the US, and let's see what happens. Okay, so the very first destination you see is not a destination that you would typically associate with fall because fall is fall foliage, and yet here we are in Orlando, Florida. But worth noting is what maybe pushed this result to the top. So we know Orlando is a huge vacation rental market in itself. It's one of the largest in the US. And so already that gives it a lot of weight regardless of seasonality. But in this particular case, you see Perplexity highlighting specific autumn events like not Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and the Food and Wine Festival. Now, big events, popular events would definitely push a market. Like we've been seeing this trend pick up a lot in the last couple of years. People are looking for more experiential travel. People increasingly plan their travel more and more around specific activities, specific events happening in a market, might plan the entire vacation around such an event. Next, what we see are our usual suspects. There's Great Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, Asheville, North Carolina, Catskills, New York, Acadia National Park, and Yellowstone National Park. There are a couple of more suggestions. It's interesting that North Conway and New Hampshire are further down because they are popular for the New England foliage. And again, in the follow-up, you can see connected searches comparing top family activities in each of the US fall destinations, kid-friendly hiking trails, fall festivals, lodging options for families, as well as weather trends. So I'm curious what happens when we click on lodging options for families in fall trip spots. Even though the first result that we see is a hotel and conference center and then a resort and spa, we see family-friendly bungalows for larger families. In Asheville, North Carolina, we are seeing more hotel options, Great Smoky Mountains, cabins with mountain views, Acadia National Park, hotels, but also campgrounds, and in the Blue Ridge Mountains, cabin rentals. So there's an interesting mix, but even here you can see hotels taking priority in markets that maybe that's not where people stay the most. Okay, now let's go over to Europe for a moment. So what I want to look for is since Oktoberfest is coming up, best places to stay near Oktoberfest in Munich. Already, once again, we can see a places tab in this case. So I already know that we are going to see a lot of hotels. This is populated a map which hadn't happened before. Stylish and comfortable hotels near Oktoberfest. We see a list of hotels, hotel hostels, and budget options near festival grounds. Classic and convenient choices, which are also hostels, but no short-term rentals. Now, it's not as if short-term rentals are not a frequent choice for Oktoberfest travelers. Many Oktoberfest travelers actually do stay in short-term rentals, yet we are not seeing them anywhere here. Let's go to places again. Again, in each case, I'm seeing more info and not the option to book. Even if I click on more info anywhere, in this scenario, I can see their website. We can see more information about the accommodation, but not exactly a place to book within. If I click on the image, I'm taken to the hotel website. If we go back to Assistant, let's see what the follow-ups are here. Top hotels, top hotels, budget-friendly hostels, LGBTQ-friendly accommodations, hotels with rooftop bars, family-friendly lodging options. So let's see what happens when we go to family-friendly options within 15-minute walk, hotel, residence inn, hotel. Okay, so we get the gist. So here the event funnel is very hostel heavy. There's luxury, boutique, budget categories, but short-term rentals are not even a footnote so far as such. The gap is really visible in this case, I think. Now, let's think about what we've seen so far. What's working well is that you can get really fast scannable answers with sources. And it's really important to have those sources to kind of really pad your research to make sure you really, because one of the most common issues with using AI for a lot of users is AI hallucinations. So the sources help address that particular problem with using AI for any type of research. And the follow-ups mirror traveler intent. So the follow-ups actually indicate what is the shape of that market, what's going on in that market, what kind of travelers, the makeup of those travelers, and the types of accommodations most popular, with obviously a focus on hotels at the moment. And I like that niche and local sites. For example, we saw Catskills cottages. They break through. We can assume that their website is optimized well for Google and they're producing the type of content that's allowing them to be picked up as an important source to that search. But it also, again, tells us that the results will not be limited to your usual suspect, but it's really about what is more suited to the query that you just made. The gaps, obviously, this is very hotel first by design. It's by the partnership, etc. as well. And even the interface does not seem to support search for short-term rentals either. One can assume rentals seem super secondary and often just don't appear at all unless you specifically ask for them. Also, I'm not seeing the native booking option myself. Again, I can confirm that I've seen other people do it successfully, but even then it was a bit glitchy, a bit iffy, which is normal, I suppose, for what is still a very fresh tool and it's still very much in a place where a lot of work is to be done. But what's more important is where this could go, what this could mean for the future of short-term rentals. So we're already seeing TripAdvisor ratings when we go to the Places tab, so we know that reviews are going to be important, but of course, when are they not in our industry? But that would be a quick, easy to see metric that might help people make quick decisions. So again, that's going to be super important here when short rentals do start appearing as a list. And obviously, it is likely that there will be more partnerships that Perplexity will have, maybe with other booking platforms. We know that Booking.com has had a partnership with OpenAI, and there will be a lot more larger platforms, maybe utilizing this tech to also get their listings, to get their offerings in front of a whole new set of travelers that are using AI to influence their decision or even to plan and book. Perplexity has also hinted at sponsored placement. So there will be future partnerships, possibly where your sponsorship will decide how you rank in the results. Obviously, that brings up some questions around organic answers versus commercial bumps because, and it also raises questions about travelers seeing what they want versus what is being pushed to them, which is always a contentious issue. And at the moment, it is in a very initial stage, but as it matures, it will be interesting to see whether short-term rentals finally do get equal footing, at least in markets where they are the default, because that would make sense, even if that's not the case right now. So in closing, I don't think Perplexity Travel is a booking channel yet. However, it is a really good indicator of where travel planning and travel inspiration is headed. It shows how AI is starting the trip conversation and what will guests see first. I would, of course, as always, love to hear your experience if you've tried Perplexity Travel, maybe if you've tried to do research for your own listings, for your own property management company, or for your market. What was your experience? Let us know in the comments. I'm Yuvika Wahi from RSU by PriceLabs, and I'll see you next time.